there's a reason that we get our best insights sometimes, or have our best epiphanies when we're doing something completely different. Oftentimes, it's when you're working out, which is why working out is such an amazing thing to do. It helps to reroute you, recenter you in those natural fingerprints that God put on your DNA. Because when you work out, suddenly you don't have the mental resources to kind of get lost in a media programmed, or in a high-minded, too heavenly for earthly good fantasy, because your body is pulling you into you're getting back in touch with yourself, which is a part, and we are a part of nature. So it's like the leftists are always kind of falsely saying, well, humans are ruining nature. Humans are part of God. Designed humans to subdue nature, and so we are nature. We are gods. We were made in the image of God. But this is not about that. That's just giving you a little bit of background into how I came to this insight. I was working out as I am when some of my best thoughts come to me, as is the case for most men, a lot of men, and very, very successful men. But I was thinking about this notion of there's a kind of a hack so-called Christian filmmaking group, and they probably have good intentions, but again, it's just ignorance, like Google level ignorance. And this person's giving a talk on authentic Christian cinema. Authentic Christian cinema. I don't think she knows what it is, and they advertise it. So that made me particularly angry, because a lot of people. I don't like people falsely claiming, because that's what the Pharisees say. It's a blind leading the blind, helps nobody. And I came to the realization, most people don't realize Christian film is rooted in the Russians invented film as we know it today. They invented the concept of splicing film together to imply an agenda. And this is how people are programmed. So we live in a world where, including the device that I'm recording this on and you're watching it on, we can't escape media influence of some sort, and it's artificial. I'm not really here, and by all accounts, there's no reason you should really care what I have to say, except for the fact that we live in a culture that we keep this false, it's a false layer of security between us and the person that we're communicating with in this device here. So it's like I'm on a screen. I'm not a threat to you, on a visceral level, and at the same time, that is how your senses are interpreting everything. And anyway, to kind of get to the point here, many people talk about being triggered. It's not just leftists. I was listening to Rush Limbaugh the day, I think it was a couple days before, it was maybe the 2nd of July. And Rush Limbaugh said he was triggered by something. And I covered this in a very short YouTube clip, but it was kind of cryptic before. So I want to flesh it out a little bit more, kind of explain what I meant. And that who's triggered by things? Well, to be triggered by something, you have to be programmed first. And so whatever larger problems that we have as a culture, including the increasing levels of violence coming from whatever political angle it happens to be coming from, it's not rational for us to fight the trigger, okay? And this is just, again, I'm taking this at a very macro level, and so I know this is going to be very difficult for some of you to understand, and some of you are going to think it's complete psychobabble or pseudoscience or hogwash, but I know that it's true, and I say it without any fear of error. That's a great Zig Ziglar has said, coined, would say very often. You don't fight the trigger. If you have a child who has been brought up by Muslim parents to believe that Americans are the enemy, and so they think when they are a teenager that the only way that they're going to get 40 virgins is to strap a bomb to their chest and fly into the World Trade Center. That's programming, okay? like like the very profound movie Zoolander with Ben Stiller. Kill the Prime Minister of Malaysia. It's a hilarious movie. Just thinking about it, I'm sorry. It's funny as much as I hate it. But and this is not really a funny. I mean, it is funny. You have to see the humor in it. Maybe that's the beginning to solve. Maybe that's the beginning of solving the problem right there. Because you never see a suicide bomber laughing at anything when he's about to. Anyway. So anyway. I'm so sorry. Relax. Get to it. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry for being a millennial. I really am. I hope God will forgive me for my millennial stupidity. Greatest generation. Why did you leave us in this state? That's another YouTube video. I can actually tell you more about that and how the sacrifices that the greatest generation made for us. They paid a great price for us, and we're experiencing some of the shockwaves of that. But mainly it's communism. So anyway, to get back to the point, we have been So how do you tell someone who's programmed that they're crazy? You can't, because they're trained to react violently. And without stepping on any psychological landmines here, because my point is not to see, media's purpose is to extract viewing hours from you by setting off your triggers, and I'm purposefully trying to avoid them. So I hope you appreciate that, at least. Even you radical. Anyway,